Hi everyone, this is Stan. Last week I made a poll on my Facebook and YouTube pages asking which topic would you like to discuss in the next video. And I gave you two options to choose. First topic was related to the cult of personality of Mr. Xi Jinping, who is the chairman of China. And the second one was the video in English about the Taiwanese independence. And as the second one gained most of the votes, today's topic is gonna be Taiwan is an independent country. Let me tell you why. But before we start, I would like to thank yet another patron who joined the team of my supporters last week. Thank you so much. If you guys like what I do, in the description below you can find the link to my Patreon account. And you can support me by a small donation so that I can create more freely. Okay, so many of you might have heard about Taiwan before. Some of you might know that that's a nation with a very developed technology, that it has a very strong manufacturing. And as the world is fighting with coronavirus, many of you might know that Taiwan is leading the fight right now. But besides this positive information about Taiwan, you might also know that Taiwan is not a member of the United Nations, and that Taiwan's participation in international organizations is also limited. And that in some of the organizations it can participate only under a very weird name called Chinese Taipei. And for example, during the Olympics, there is no Team Taiwan, but there is a Team Chinese Taipei. So you might also ask, so is Taiwan an independent country? So today I'm going to explain you why Taiwan is an independent country, and that the problems that Taiwan is facing right now internationally is mostly related to the politics of one particular country, which is Communist China. As we all know, there is an island nation in the Pacific with world-known developed technology, a vibrant democracy where human rights and freedoms are guaranteed. A country with the world-leading healthcare system. Yes, it's Taiwan. And I used to live in this country for 9 years. So some of you might consider this question as a difficult one, and some of the countries are not feeling very comfortable talking about it. I'm going to try to explain in a very simple way why Taiwan is a sovereign state. As you see, many countries are avoiding the topic of Taiwan's independence. That's simply because many countries want to trade with China, and there is such thing as one China principle, and Taiwan unfortunately lacks international recognition. So it is not fair what's going on in the world right now. But to truly understand the whole question of Taiwan's independence, we have to take a short trip into 20th century and even to the 19th century. Taiwan used to be a part of Qing Empire, and in 1895, according to the Treaty of Shimonoseki, Taiwan was given to Japan and it was part of Japanese Empire. It was a Japanese colony from 1895 till 1945. After the Second World War, Japan renounced its sovereignty over Taiwan, and the ROC government came. So ROC was representative of all China at that time. It was one of the nations that started the United Nations, for example, and the ROC government represented the whole China in the United Nations up until 1971. So it is important to know that the Communist China, that the Communist government, they never ruled Taiwan, not for a single day. The government that was in Taiwan was the government of ROC. And yes, of course, Taiwan had a chance to stay in the United Nations, but there were some mistakes made by the leadership of the Republic of China, and personally by Chiang Kai-shek, who didn't want to give up his right to claim the whole China. And right now, Taiwan unfortunately is facing many problems internationally due to the mistakes of the ROC leadership that were made in the 70s. And as you see, the PRC government has never ruled Taiwan, and the only government that was in Taiwan after the 1945 is ROC. After being constantly bullied by China, Taiwan is facing many problems internationally. It is very hard to join any international organizations, but still the country is thriving. Technology is developing, life expectancy is very high, the educational system is very effective, and many people are having higher education in Taiwan. As you know, the government of Communist China is currently claiming the territory of Taiwan. But do the communists have the right to do so? Why do they bully an independent nation? And most of the countries seem just to close their eyes to that. Why do they allow the PRC to bully an independent nation? For me, the answer is very simple: money. And there also is one China principle. To fully understand Taiwan's independence, let's start with answering a very simple question. What makes country an independent state? And here there are two theories. One is declarative, and the second one is constitutive. Taiwan's independence fits into both of these theories, but I prefer using declarative theory here. So right now let's discuss what is a declarative theory of statehood. And to answer this question, let's use the Montevideo Convention of the Rights and Duties of States, which codified the declarative theory of statehood. So, according to the Article 1 of the Convention, the state, as a person of international law, should possess the following qualifications. Firstly, a permanent population. Secondly, a defined territory. Thirdly, a government. And the last one is a capacity to enter into relationships with the other states. And now, let's look at Taiwan. Permanent population, check. Defined territory, check. Government, check. Capacity to enter into relationships with the other states, check. And also, let's take a look at the article number 3 of the convention. The political existence of the state is independent from the recognition by the other states. Okay, and what about the other theory of statehood, the constitutive theory? It defines a state as a person of international law if and only if it is recognized as a sovereign by at least one other state. And here again, Taiwan, even though it is a state with a limited recognition, it has relationships with most of the world powers. And those relationships, they are de facto official, even though de jure they are considered unofficial. Why is it so? Because of the One China principle that says that there is only one China, so that any country can have official relationships with only one of the Chinas. It's either ROC, Republic of China, which is Taiwan, or the PRC, People's Republic of China, which is Communist China. And while we're talking about the independence of Taiwan, it is also very important to mention the Treaty of San Francisco. And according to the Treaty of San Francisco, the sovereignty of Taiwan was returned to the people of Taiwan. As you know, Taiwan used to be a part of Japanese Empire. And after the Second World War, Japan renounced its sovereignty of Taiwan. And it is also very important to mention that in the Treaty of San Francisco there is not a single word saying that the sovereignty of Taiwan was transferred from Japan to China. You can read the full text of this treaty on the website of the United Nations. So you might ask, if Japan has renounced its sovereignty over Taiwan and it was transferred to the people of Taiwan, how come that the ROC government has been representing Taiwan for such a long time? Here I think we can talk about popular sovereignty and the differences between the ROC government before late 80s and 90s, when the martial law was lifted and when the first democratic elections took place, and that right now the ROC government technically has a popular mandate to represent the people of Taiwan. At the same time, you might also say, well, Taiwan is not a member of the United Nations and many other international organizations, and Taiwan doesn't have official relationships with the others. But don't forget that Taiwan has been filing an application to join the United Nations and some other international organizations such as World Health Organization, but it cannot join due to only one reason, which is bullying from China, and the fact that unfortunately many countries want to trade with the communists. Yes, legally Taiwan has its own problems, such as an outdated constitution and lack of official international recognition due to China's bullying. But factually speaking, Taiwan has representative offices all across the planet. It is trading with most of the countries in the world, and Taiwanese people have a passport that grants them a visa-free entry to the European Union, to the United States, to Canada, to New Zealand, to Australia, to many destinations that Chinese people cannot go without a visa. And it is an independent country with its own currency, with its own democratically elected government, and with truly working principle of separation of powers. Oh, and don't forget about the strong army that can protect its borders. So if you think about Taiwan's independence, is it really that crucial to see a country as a sovereign state if it has a membership seat in the United Nations? I don't think so. And especially when the membership of this state is being blocked by a dictatorship like mainland China. Right now we see a very safe country, a very developed country, a country where democracy is working, where all the institutions are working, with very effective healthcare system, very high level of science and technology, a country with very kind people, and a country which is constantly being bullied, not only by China, but also by world's most developed nations. Yes, the Western countries are following the totalitarian China right now, including the EU members in the United States. It is unfair that the democracy is being outcasted and discriminated against. Let's all support Taiwan. So as one of the Polish TV channels said before, say no to Communist China and say yes to Taiwan. And to all the Taiwan YouTubers, we've all spent time in this beautiful country. I kindly ask you to make a video supporting Taiwan, no matter what language is your channel. And if you love Taiwan, spread the word. If you like my videos, don't forget to press like, share, and subscribe. This is Stan from 斯坦说中文. See you in the next one.